Three tiers. Tier. Tier. First tier. I have an appointment early in the morning. I'm about to go to bed for Samara to see the vet. She's not dripping or oozing. I think she went pee in the litter box. I'm not sure what that's all about, but we're going to go to the vet and find out what's up. I'm not trying to be hopeful because this could be totally one of those things where I'm like, oh, it's going to be okay. And in 3 days, that's it. Not getting my hopes up. Tier number, oh, I'm sorry, maybe there's 4 tiers. Tier number 2, yeah, there are 4. Tier number 2, business the last couple of days has been decent on the close, and oh, my tummy's rumbling. Making money. It's not exactly hand over fist, but it's certainly really good for weeknights. Um, no, I would say tonight was almost a hand over fist thing, but it was rough. My tires are wearing. It's just another thing. Um, Tier 2, I'm grinding. Tier 3, I watched a bit of, no, I believe I watched the entirety of the UAP hearing. The guy who is the most recent public whistleblower was there. A pilot who I heard give his opinion a few times. He sounds qualified and knowledgeable. I have no real reason to doubt him unless he has a particular role within the intel community. The third guy seemed like a bureaucrat, not really sure. He might have also been a whistleblower. Was not particularly enlightening. Just a bunch of rehashes for congressional record of a bunch of stuff. Simultaneously, they're talking about impeachment inquiry on Hunter Biden, or on Joe Biden. Sorry, Hunter Biden's also in the news. All in tier 3. I've taken Benadryl to go to sleep, so that's why I'm a little woo. So, impeachment inquiry is what the House does, and if it's like a grand jury. Once the inquiry reaches enough to indict, you impeach rather than indict. Upon passing the impeachment, which they have to vote on the wording of the impeachment, it is then sent to the Senate to be tried. Whether or not that will work out, don't know. But they tried and failed to impeach Trump twice. Remember that. Also in the same tier, Hunter Biden's plea deal fell through. He has now pled not guilty, was arrested, and then bailed out so that he is now subject to all kinds of random mandatory testing, etc. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other interestingly wild and crazy things going on in the world. Tier 4. As far as I can tell, somewhere, what did they say, about 2 a.m., I think that was into the 25th from the 24th of July here, just a couple days ago. There was a lot of weird space weather, but it was minor stuff and nobody was really talking about it. It was just referred to as like a mystery coronal mass ejection that had hit us or something. It turns out the sun blasted multiple X flares opposite of Earth. The second one they ranked at something like an X20, and that this flare completely disabled. It killed a European Space Agency satellite called Solo that orbits like a third of the way around on the almost the complete far side of the sun from where we're at right now. That spacecraft has been killed by the radiation. That's it. The coronal mass ejection from this flare apparently shook off corona from the entire sun because we got hit 2 days later just after a minor CME had headed our direction and we registered like a couple of C flares, those things that registered C flares on our earthbound and Earth orbit instrumentation were measuring an X20 on the other side of the sun. We got hit hard by protons, X-rays, ultraviolet, even though we weren't even facing it. The CME that went out had a component that came around and hit us too. This was never modeled by NASA, NOAA, ESA, any of them. Nonetheless, the video exists. It has been released. NASA has finally come around and announced it. It's something that would have literally ended our civilization. And if we'd been hit direct on, a lot of people would have got cancer from it. A lot. A real killer just went off Death Star style, other side of the sun. And it affected us. So if you've been having cell signal issues, connectivity problems, device failures, dizzy spells, health issues, confusion in the last couple of days would have some to do with that. I've been noticing it because my phone's really been having issues, and I know my screen's cracked and whatever, but the problems that it was exhibiting seemed exacerbated, and now that has kind of subsided a little bit. The signal seems to have returned. It's still cracked to shit and still needs replaced, but it's not something to where I would think that the issues with having these little fractured bits of glass on one side of the phone would cause it to just spontaneously lose connection over and over again in a position where it normally would have good signal. So yeah, the last couple of days, this thing hit. If there's a plasma component, it may not have even hit us yet. But what we certainly received within a day, certainly within a few hours of the actual event, was significant doses of radiation and magnetic field connections and other things. So that's what I got for this update. I'm going to shrink it down, upload it, and then I'm going to bed. I have to take my baby to the doctor in the morning.